And we're live. Take it away, Matthew.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another DoneJS contributor meeting on this October 28th, 2006. Yeah, thanks for coming to the DoneJS contributor meeting, where we're talking about various DoneJS things. I said we do it this. I was trying to think real quick of a way to go through our statuses. How about we go from like day of the month you were born, and we'll go through it that way. Like, so if anyone was born on the 1st of the month, then we'll go 2nd of the month. Does it make sense? So do we have anyone like in 1 through 5?
Me. And Ilya?
What are you
I got
guys?
5.
Me too.
You too? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Kevin and I worked this week more on all the browser support for CanJS 3.0. We got it working in IE 9, 10, all the other browsers, including mobile Safari. I'm just wrapping something up in IE 11, an issue that came up with one of the newer releases. And I think then we have browser support and CI for everything. And I also started moving the homepage away from our CI server thing to actually use GitHub Pages again, because we don't really, with CanJS 3.0 on the website, we don't need a separate server anymore that does that. We can just do it during CI and deploy it to GitHub Pages, as long as GitHub or Git doesn't grow in size every time you commit something, because if you do automated deploys and always add it to Git, it's going to get pretty big. So I'm looking into that today. Yeah, but that's it for me.
So did a new site get deployed?
Well, I'm gonna. So it used to be set up to get deployed automatically on the CI server, but there is some node version conflict, so the old one doesn't work with the new one at the same time. Yeah, because it doesn't really need any of the special server stuff anymore, we yesterday briefly discussed if we're not just going to go back to GitHub Pages.
Okay, so you haven't decided on that yet.
No, and we have to do the same thing. We would have to do the same thing for Steel and a lot of the other things that are being deployed automatically right now. But yeah, I'll maybe talk to you later today about that, actually.
Ilya?
Hi. So I was working on can feature socket. So I think got it done, got documentation done. Documentation is published, package is published in PM. Yeah, so, and right now I'm trying to start using it in like our internal project. So now, yeah, with this package, we can mock Socket.io server, and we can test our applications that utilize sockets, like WebSockets with Socket.io.
Do you want to? If you have some like example handy, would you mind showing that?
Sure, absolutely.
I think it's a pretty cool feature.
Can you guys see? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
So it's a part of ecosystem right next to a can fixture. The package is called can fixture socket. So the module itself exposes 3 things. The most important is the first one, server. The way we use it, so we import our Socket.io, and then we instantiate our fixture server, passing it Socket.io object, and this would intercept. This will rewrite socket manager of Socket.io, and will override methods like on, emit. Then, like, let's say you have your client application like this. You do something on, like you listen to something, or you emit something. Like to test it, you need to mock your like server, and then you can start testing your application. There is a lot of examples here. So there are some basic examples, and the most interesting things were with using fixtures, using fixture store, that you can actually have your store. And basically what you can do, you can test like your RESTful resources, like RESTful services with this, like, pretty cool. And there is a separate helper for like to wrap feathers, so that when we have our fixture store, we connect it to the so we tell the mock server that we want to mock messages feather service with this fixture store, and when you have your to message service from feathers, yeah, let's say this is our client feathers application. So we instantiate the app, we have our messages service. Once we have this, those calls will work. Like we can do find, get, create, etc. Yeah, that's so far.
Awesome. Thanks, Ilya. Actually, I realized when David started talking that I was born on the 4th, so I should have gone first, but oh well. I've been working on steel documentation. There was like there's a guide that Justin did a few months back. I'm going to add it to the page today. Then I'll probably go over to the migration guide. So just like CanJS, there's going to be a migration guide. Be much shorter in this case, and there'll be like maybe a blog article about 1.0 and breaking changes and that sort of thing. So yeah, all steel documentation for me today, and probably most of next week as well. All right, anyone born? Julie, I think you stepped away. We're doing it in the order of the day of the month that you were born. So if you're born, first we did 1 through 5. Now we'll do 6 through 10. Anyone that was born on the 6th through the 10th?
No, I'm on February.
No, it's the day of the month.
Oh, okay. So I'm on the 22. So
okay, you're gonna be a while. No one on 6 through 10. Okay, that's weird. 11 through 15.
I'm on the 14th.
All right, John. Any other takers? No. Wow, got a lot of late birthdays. Okay, go ahead, John.
So I got pulled off on client work for a couple days this week, but I was just working on DoneJS Electron, and was getting fairly close with it as like an MVM, a minimum viable module. So my goal for today is to get that finished. So it's working, not finished, but working, and that's it for me.
Awesome, thanks, John. All right, you were the 14th. So anybody 16th? We should start getting a lot now. 16 through 20. Any? Oh, come on.
I'm 18.
Okay, there you go.
So, yeah, so I've been focusing on Func Unit, just generally getting it to a spot where outside contributors can start using it. That's like getting a CanJS, more CanJS-y release script in the NPM or in the package JSON. Making sure the documentation is working. Right now it's using document.js still. There's going to be a little bit of work to convert that over to bitdocs, which is probably on the ticket at some point soon. And then adding the contribution guide, the contributors guide, which is right now just a one-page sort of thing that's taken really heavily from the CanJS contributors guide, and just kind of modified everything and pretty much replaced everything CanJS for Func Unit stuff. And so the next steps are just to get this thing pushed out. I've been fighting with Travis CI for a while, and is there a question?
No, go on.
No.
I think someone just muted themselves.
Yeah, so I have been fighting with Travis CI for a while, and I keep, like, I'll intermittently get this error, this browser timed out within 120 seconds. And sometimes I'll just restart the test and it'll work. Sometimes it won't. So I'm not really sure what's causing this issue. If anybody has an idea for what that might be, I would love to talk to you maybe after this. But yeah, I mean, that's it, I think, for me. Other than that, it's just going through the func unit issues, the existing pile of 50-something issues, and getting those all prioritized and everything.
Cool. One thing you might try, Nick, that I just thought of, I don't know if you have the fire. I'm assuming this is running Firefox.
Mm-hmm.
If it is, you can try setting the Firefox version, because I believe by default Travis uses a pretty old version of Firefox, so it's possible that something's being tested that the old version doesn't use.
Okay, and that would be what, in the Travis YML?
Yeah, I can show you what to put after,
okay.
Or you can Google it. I think it pops up pretty early in Google. That's just one thing to try.
Okay, yeah, I can try that at some point.
Cool. Okay, Marshall, we're doing it in the order of the day of the month you were born.
Yeah, I'm on the 25th, so.
You're on the 25th. Okay, so we're not there yet. All right, we have a lot of late birthdays. Mick just went. He was the 18th. Is anyone else 18 or 19 to 20? No?
Anybody before the 25th?
Anyone? Well, yeah, I think we do have some. Any 20 through 25? Or
On the 24th.
21 to 25? Huh?
24th.
I'm 24 too.
I think Julian is first.
Yeah, Julian's 26.
Oh, yeah, Julian. Julian, were you 22nd?
No, 22.
22, yeah. Okay. You're up then.
So, okay. So yeah, I've timed work this week. Maybe I can do some fixes for Steel. There's some issue that I assigned to me a long time ago, and that I would check that weekend. That's the plan. And yeah, if you have any thoughts about Steel, let me know, Matthew, and maybe we can check that out next week. So yeah,
cool.
Nothing new for me.
There's some stuff that I've been thinking. There's a couple of new issues. You remember the stuff that we talked about last week with Dest? So I'll at your name on the issue, so that way you can take a look at it and see what you think about it. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Anybody in the 20? I think we have a couple of 24s. Any 24s out there?
Yeah, 24.
Go for it.
All right, I'll go then. So we've been we got the can define stream out released on npm. The documentation is done. There was some issue with the documentation showing undefined when published, but I'm just looking into that. I also started looking at the bitballs, updating it to 3.0. There was already a branch going on from the retreat, so I'm just looking at that. And I started incorporating streams into it, so finding more issues as I go along and fixing them. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Obad. Who else? Wait, there was another.
I'm the 24th too.
Go for it.
Yeah. So this week I fixed some issues with can stash bracket expressions. We had a project that's trying to upgrade to 3.0, and they're using bracket expressions heavily. And I don't know that anyone has used them before, and a lot of stuff didn't work. So I fixed up a lot of that stuff. And then, like David mentioned, we've been working on upgrading or adding different browsers to our CI test for CanJS. So we tried to add iOS Safari and found that it doesn't work with the plugin that we're using, Grunt Sauce Labs. So I've basically been trying to get rid of that and write a script to do the same stuff that Grunt Sauce Labs is doing, but actually support iOS Safari. And that's about it for me. I've been doing that for days.
I'm sure you'll be ready to move to something else. Cool. Yeah, I saw that we got a bunch of new new browsers added. I'm thinking about doing the same thing for Steel, but it worries me a little bit because I know how long it's taken you all to get everything going. If it was just a matter of like fixing the bugs in the browsers, like that wouldn't be too bad, right? Because you can just use VirtualBox and fix it. But it seems like a lot of the things you guys have run into has not been necessarily.
Well, the good thing is that we figured a lot of the setup stuff out now. So,
one of the things that I've been thinking about is taking this script that I'm making and turning it into its own package, like Testy Sauce Labs or something like that. So you could just add it to projects that are using Testy to launch your tests and Sauce Labs on different browsers. But I need to get it to work first and make sure it's working reliably and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
That would make it easier for you to add it to other projects.
Awesome. All right. I think that leaves Marshall and Adam. What are you guys?
I'll go first. So this week I continued to work on the CanJS copy for the website about comparing us to other frameworks, trying to focus on differences and stuff we do differently or better, and the technical highlights page. Yeah, and now starting to work into getting our demos and our performance tests to use the latest version, because all the 3 libraries, Angular, React, and Can, have all major bumped, and so they need to sort of be reworked and whatever, so that we're actually testing the right thing in a valid way that either gives us good numbers or we just don't show them at all. But yeah, that's what I've been working on.
Nice, cool, thanks. Oh, by the way, Kevin, I don't think you mentioned this. Were you able to figure out the bracket bugs? Did you?
Yeah, that's what I talked about first. Yeah, we got all that stuff working. So now brackets should work in all of the different places you want to use them. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Marshall, that leaves you.
Okay, I'm just sharing my screen. Did I show the updated Can Connect feathers last week?
Oh, I don't remember either.
Okay.
I don't know if you updated version. I know that you showed off previous versions.
Okay, so let me show you. First, I'll show you this one that I made yesterday. This is the Feathers authentication pop-ups. So this is for creating like I'll just show you right here actually, if it works. It might work. So creating like an OAuth pop-up workflow where you click on it and it opens up a GitHub verification window and then automatically closes and passes the data back to the main window. So anyway, these are the utilities. There's just there's 2 little client utilities and then well, I'll just go through them here. Well, I'll show you in the app actually. Okay, so first of all, there's just the little function to open the login pop-up, which I've co-located on the view model here. And so if we go to page auth stash, so here's my GitHub button right here. And there's my open login pop-up, and you just pass the URL. So that gives you your pop-up and centers it in the window and gets it to the right size. And then when you run that, it automatically creates this auth agent, which is it's just an event emitter that's basically set up as window.auth agent. And that makes it so the pop-up window can have access back to send basically, so you can, let's see, let me show you down here. Right here. So you can do window.authagent.on. There's a login event basically that we're registering on. And then the pop-up window will actually send through that. Let me see if I've got that handy here. Maybe here. Actually, it's just right here. I'll show you real quick.
So it's the idea that it's going to pop up the window. You're gonna do the permission. You're gonna say yes, presumably, and then that event's going to fire with the token. So,
yeah. So it actually redirects you. There's this with Feathers. You give it a success handler URL, and so there's a middleware you register as well. So here I'm pulling in the handle OAuth pop-ups middleware from the same thing /middleware.
This is on the node side.
This is on the Express middleware.
Okay.
So you just register this middleware here, and this is what the middleware looks like. Basically, it just reads a cookie because it throws the JWT token in a cookie, reads the cookie, checks for window.opener. That's how you get your reference back to the parent window. And as long as that's there, then it will send off the, it'll emit on that auth agent, it'll emit the login event and just send the token along and close the window. So then back in here you handle the token. So I'm just decoding the token, getting the payload out of the token, and then creating a session instance out of it. And then eventually, this is what I'm figuring out today, we'll get the stream working so that when a new session instance is created, that the window will automatically respond. This is in the app state. So I updated this last night so I could get like the can event stream stuff to work, but it's like breaking. You can see all the errors it's getting. Like the SSR server for some reason can't load because of this error right here. Did we move like util vdom? Is it like its own separate module now or something? Or
there's a can vdom now.
Can vdom, okay. So I probably just need to install that, and then is all that's probably left. Okay, so there's that, and then there's also for can connect feathers, it's been changed to actually work better with can connect. So before I was hijacking, I didn't really understand exactly how it was working, and I was actually hijacking the URL behavior. Let's see if I can find this here. Oh, that was what I wanted. My node modules is open. Let's see. Let's just go session. Here we go. Okay, so there's two different behaviors in it. One is the session behavior. So can connect feathers session right here. So basically what you do now is it integrates with Feathers client directly. So models Feathers right here. So basically you start up your Feathers client instance. In this case we're using socket.io. This is just a normal configuration for a Feathers client, and then you just export it. Then back in your session model. So we bring in our Feathers client right there. This is this is basically the equivalent of all of these guys down to here are the equivalent of a supermodel without the local storage cache, because we don't want to like store our password, for example, in local storage when we're logging in. And then down here, let's see, there's that auth agent, decode, none of those. Okay, so you basically create your behaviors list. This is what is going on under the hood of Supermap. Create your behaviors list, put your Feathers session one in there very last, and then right down here in your connection setup, you just pass in the Feathers client. Like that, basically. And so basically it's going to use, inside it wires up the like create data and like destroy data methods to just use the Feathers client authentication methods. So it uses that directly. And then the other part is similar. So there's a session behavior, and then there's just the regular can connect Feathers behavior, which is, I think we can find one here. Right there. So you do the same thing. You just bring in your Feathers client, bring in the Feathers behavior and all the other behaviors you want. Put your Feathers behavior as the last behavior, and then pass in your behavior list to your connection. And then this one takes a Feathers service. You don't have to pass in the client. Just pass in the Feathers service, which in this case is API users, and it will wire up all the methods for like creating all the CRUD methods basically that Can Connect uses. It'll wire those up to use the Feathers client now. So that is the official way now to use Feathers with Can Connect. So I'm just making docs for that today, so I don't really have it documented anywhere that I can show off, but that's basically it.
All right, thank you, Marshall. I think we went through everyone, right?
I'm the last one.
Oh, Garrett. Go for it.
All right, so this week, still working on the 3.0 site. The big thing you'll notice is that the top navbar toggle, that's been mostly flushed out. There's a few remaining issues, but most of those are browser specific. So yeah, the end part of this week and next week is going to be dedicated to browser testing and fixing. So anytime you guys are checking out the docs, it'd be awesome if you looked at it and not Chrome. And if you see something weird, just let me know. Not everything has, or not all the issues have been created in GitHub yet. So I need to create those. Also going to add link to the sources today. And that's pretty much it. There were a lot of like scroll event race conditions, because we have a lot of those that were fleshed out, so the performance has been boosted a bit. And I'm going to add a little bit more of that kind of stuff next week, hopefully adding static heights to like all those embedded assets, so the scroll is a little less janky. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's coming together really nice too. I was looking at it last night playing with it. Feels good, that little bar too, little toggle.
All right, well, I think it's everyone that's gone through all of our statuses. Is there any particular topics anyone wants to talk about? I know we're like most of us, except for Marshall, most of us are kind of working on documentation and a lot of cleanup types of things, not anything too exciting. Anything in particular?
Could I bring up
so
something? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry. One question, Marshall. You created that connection feather behavior, right? Do you write it like other behaviors for can connect, or because 2 weeks ago you talked with Justin about that hooks or something like that. So do you implement that in your feather behavior, or do you use the onion principle of can connect?
Yeah, good question. Actually the can connect behaviors kind of make what I was talking about possible if you wanted to go that route. So if you had some kind of like a hook that you wanted to register, the only problem that I had before was registering hooks would sometimes break things like the local storage cache, but that's been like several months since I've tested that kind of stuff out. So for right now, I should probably go back and test everything with the local storage cache turned on. I haven't tested that yet, so thanks for bringing that up. But yeah, basically this makes it so that you can still register your can connect behaviors, but you can also have access to. Let me share my screen again, actually. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so basically you can do things like this too. So you can do, let's see here, feather service. So let's just say, I'm gonna move this.
You all see his screen?
I can't see your screen, yeah.
You don't see it?
No, I'm gonna try sharing it again.
Just black. Yeah.
Okay, let me stop and start again. Okay, screen sharing off. I'm going to share the entire, actually, you know what, I'm just going to share, actually I have too many windows to identify it. Share entire screen. Is it working yet?
No.
No.
Okay. Hang on 2 seconds.
You could just describe it, mostly.
Yeah, I'm going to try one more time, just sharing that specific window. I closed all the others.
There we go.
Yeah, it's working now.
Third time, it is the charm. Okay, so let's just call this feathered service here. So what I've done is I moved this feathered client service, but basically instead of referencing that here, I'm just gonna like that. So I've got my feathered service here. Now I can reference it separately. So we're gonna say feathered service dot, well, we'll just say before. You can like register hooks this way. So before, we've got like our create or whatever. So before create, and now you can like register whatever like your favorite feathered hooks right here. If you want to do it that way. So actually, technically, it'll work either way. For right now, I'm just making it work with the current can connect behaviors. But yeah, technically, what I was asking about before would still work. Oh, that's supposed to be an array, but you know, whatever. Yeah, you can register things either way now. So it's kind of like, should be pretty flexible to do it whichever way you decide you need to. But.
Okay, cool.
Adam, was there something you wanted to talk about?
I was going to bring up something that we've never like talked about before, or any plan or anything, but just if there was time. I was just thinking about this last night. Is there any good reason why we split steel and steel tools into two different things? Because I was kind of thinking about it. One really isn't useful without the other. You know, you're never going to only use steel except for demos and stuff, because you're going to use steel tools for your production build. Of course, steel tools require steel. So I wonder if there's any value in having them as two separate projects that need to be like updated and integrated separately.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I definitely use steel for like demos. I don't always do builds with steel, you know? Like I use it all the time just because someone files it.
Is that like a reason enough to not have them together? You know what I mean? Like, what's the benefit of keeping them separate?
I mean, I guess the normal benefit. Well, I guess I would say is steel and steel tools are actually very broken up. It's not just those two. There's like a million steel things. I would say those definitely do not need to be separated. This is something Julian, I think, agrees with. But because there's like the JSON extension was its own separate thing, even though it's only useful inside of steel. Those should definitely be brought together. I haven't really thought about steel and steel tools. I mean, steel tools does have, like, it has a C++ dependency, which is kind of like I hate to force that on someone just because they want to use a module loader. Yeah, I mean,
that makes sense. That makes sense right there, actually. That's enough that I would say, okay, yeah, that's probably a good reason to keep them separate.
And people actually have complained that steel tools is too big. Like it is, because it has like the kitchen sink thrown into it. Like if you're not using live reload, I think you don't need the WebSocket stuff. So it might be nice to break apart steel or steel tools. Yeah, it's in a weird state where the front end steel is very broken up and modular, and the steel tools is not modular at all, which is kind of weird. You would think the opposite would be true, because really you need all of steel to use steel. Yeah, good topic for sure.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Is there anyone else that have anything? I know some people have to get into meetings and whatnot. If not, I'm sure we're going to have a lot more to talk about in the next few weeks, because I think a lot of people are kind of getting off of their cleanup work, and we'll be transitioning into more DoneJS stuff and talking more about DoneJS 1.0 and all of that. So, all right. Well, I guess that will end it for this week. Oh, Julian?
One question I have. Yeah, sure. one little question. I posted a thread in our forum, and I read an article about about a JavaScript framework survey, and they talked about DoneJS, but they say that DoneJS has little traction and not been updated since 6 months. That's not true. So, but it's true a little bit, because if you look in our DoneJS repo, you see that the DoneJS repo is not updated since 7 months. The whole project is not been updated. So because we have DoneJS CLI, and we have our DoneJS generator and all the stuff. So what do you think? What is the best, or how do we manage that people can see that DoneJS is updated and is up to date and is working and has huge traction? I think so. What do you have plans, or do you have ideas how we can improve that people people go to the GitHub page and see, oh, okay, DoneJS last update 7 months ago. Okay, there is a little pull request that makes some spelling errors or something like that. But how do we is it possible to write on our DoneJS GitHub README that we can track our pull request for CanJS or the generator or CLI or all the stuff?
Maybe we should have it automatically commit like once a week or something. Just a little dummy commit. No, I don't know. It's a good question. I wonder if the problem is that the author of this just didn't know that much about DoneJS, so the only way to judge it was to look at the GitHub GitHub updates. That would be my guess. I do think that we probably don't do well. I would say we don't do a good job of communicating like what we're doing as well. Like I don't know if you've ever heard of what's a framework called Aurelia or something like that.
Yeah.
The guy who runs that sends out like kind of status updates like monthly or so. I mean, maybe not monthly, but quite often. So I wonder if we were doing that kind of thing, it would show more, the type of progress that we're making, rather than, we have these meetings every week and we're always doing stuff, obviously, but yeah, it's spread out. It's kind of harder from an outsider to track.
Yeah, because if you go to the DoneJS homepage, you don't see any changes last month ago. So you go to the page and you don't see any traction that we improved or that we are upgrading CanJS to 3.0, that we have all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. So maybe we have to do more to put more status on the DoneJS homepage, or also on the GitHub page, that people can see, okay, DoneJS is the project, and that's separate. It's separate parts. It's at SteelJS. It's at CanJS. People don't know that. I think they look at DoneJS and see, okay, another framework, 7 months ago. Okay, next. So maybe we can improve that a little bit.
I have two quick thoughts on that. So one, I like where Julian was going for the idea of like, is it possible to like bring in statuses of other repositories within the README of DoneJS in GitHub? I don't know if it is or not, I guess. And then another thought would be like, we have BitHub. Could we not utilize BitHub on DoneJS.com and kind of point it to a lot of the other repos? I don't know, just two thoughts, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good thought. I'm not sure about BitHub. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but yeah. And the only thing about the README is I'm not sure if that goes like on the site somewhere. So might be something. Maybe not. But yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one for sure.
I think we could solve a lot of it just by, if you look at the DoneJS, the README right now for DoneJS/DoneJS, we've got, not a whole lot of commits happen here, but they probably shouldn't really happen here a whole lot. I don't know exactly how it's built, and plus we have our builds failing. But if we just like updated this to have like a link to, well, it's a combination of all these technologies. So I think we just need to be more explicit. Probably put some logos to these guys and say, this repo does not need to get much activity. Check out all these other ones where all the fun's happening right now. And that guy actually updated the article I was just looking at, so he doesn't say the same. Doesn't say the same like this is outdated and nothing happening. But yeah, I think just a couple of tweaks to that repo would be really, really helpful as like a first step. Be a little bit more explicit on like, not a lot should happen in this repo, so check all these other repos.
Yeah, it's funny because we intentionally created it so that DoneJS almost never has to be updated. We intentionally created so that most of the CLI stuff happens in DoneJS CLI, so it's just like almost no reason to ever update that. But yeah, definitely. Definitely GitHub is where people go at first, at least developers. So if we could fix up the README, maybe that would help. I like that idea.
Yeah, I'll make an issue for that. We can probably be a good thing to get fixed pretty quick.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for bringing that up, Julian.
Yeah, since we're going to be working on 1.0, we can maybe put more of a focus on these sorts of issues. All right, well, I guess that covers it for this week. Went quite a while, actually. Thanks, everyone, for coming, and we'll do it again next week.
See you guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.